Hey everybody, Trey Wingo here. Is Donovan McNabb and the Eagles offense finally back on track? And who's the better team, the Chiefs or the Titans? Titans have lost two. We'll have a report from Green Bay later today on SportsCenter and Monday Night Countdown. Coming up at 5:30 Eastern, pardon the interruption. Then at 6, it's a 90-minute edition of SportsCenter, leading you up to TJ, Michael Irvin, and yours truly on Monday Night Countdown at 7:30 Eastern. Coming up next, we go around the horn with Max Kellerman. Enjoy it all. We'll see you at 7:30.
These four things I know are true. The Carolina Panthers definitely aren't great, but they're the best team in the NFC. Hideki Matsui is definitely a rookie, but he shouldn't have won Rookie of the Year. Doug Flutie's definitely short, but being tall isn't everything, and I'm Max Kellerman. Just ask Mariotti, or Holly for that matter.
It's Around the Horn, the show of competitive banter. Here's Max Kellerman.
Welcome back to the Weekend Extender. Sit back and relax. We're talking Roy Jones, pound for pound, Tracy McGrady's retirement threat, and Will Ferrell versus Doug Flutie, all with our national panel, and here they are. At the Denver Post, it's Woody Page.
From now on, refer to me as Big Woody.
At the Chicago Sun-Times, it's Jay Mariotti.
The ladies know him as Little Woody.
At his chair, inappropriate.
Oh, my goodness.
At his chair on the set of PTI, it is Stat Boy Tony Reale.
I'm going to keep things appropriate here for you, man.
Thank you very much. And at the Boston Globe, it is Michael Holly.
Hey, watch out for my boys who are on the short list.
That is right. Where is the respect? And this time it wasn't a bad win. We are the show that scores the argument, and here's how I do it. With these joysticks and mute buttons, I give these guys points based on point of view, style, and information. Good answers get 2, great ones 3, and I use the mute button to penalize and direct traffic. We eliminate guys. So a one-on-one showdown determines the winner of the whole thing. Let's make it happen.
It's the first word.
The first word is NFL. The Carolina Panthers answered a lot of questions about the Bucs with a 27-24 win without Steven Davis to stretch their division lead to 3 games. The Minnesota Vikings lost their 3rd in a row. This one a blowout to Doug friggin' Flutie in San Diego. And the Cowboys got another one of their trademark bad wins, just like Ohio State, 10-6 over Buffalo. Bill Parcells has Dallas tied with Carolina for the best record in the conference at 7-2. Guys, will Carolina win the NFC? Around the horn of Tony Reale.
Absolutely, Max. They're the best team in the NFC right now. They'll be the best team in 2 months. What do you have to do to be the best? That's the question. You have to beat the best, and they've swept the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They won yesterday with a 2-minute drill with Jake Delhomme at QB against the supposed best defense in the NFL. They win the close games, 3 overtime games this year, and they play smash-mouth football. I love them.
Come on, Goomba, you got to be smarter than that. I mean, to beat the best last week, they lost to the Houston Texans. You know, the NFC is too unpredictable to sit here. I'd almost like to tell you, Kellerman, this is the kind of year where there should be no NFC team in the Super Bowl because all the best teams in the AFC. You have to look at the unpredictable this year. How about the Philadelphia Eagles? They survived all of these problems. They're 5-3 with a banged-up secondary. McNabb's getting healthy. He's had 2 hot weeks. Why not Philly to win tonight and go on and shock the world and get to the Super Bowl?
Shock the world?
Mariotti, you got the answer right in front of you, but you don't want it. You don't like the way the Panthers... No, you don't like the way the Panthers play. You don't like their style. Dan Henning runs a very simple offense. You had questions about Jake Delhomme. What did he do yesterday? He led his team to a victory in the final seconds. Steven Davis, they won without Steven Davis. Dan Morgan is out. They play a very simple offense. They keep things uncomplicated, and their opponents, remaining opponents, their records, 28-34. So they got an easy schedule the rest of the way. You guys are not right at all. None of you. First of all, Holly and whatever your name is, Carolina is not far enough advanced to be able to win the NFC Championship this year. And Mariotti, I couldn't figure out what you're talking about. Chicago Bears, is that what you said? Is that the team that's going to win the NFC Championship?
No.
The Vikings are going through a little bit of a bad stretch now, but look at their schedule. If you look at the schedule, you'd see the Vikings are going to finish strong. That's one of the teams. Tampa Bay.
However, Woody, the question wasn't who's going to finish with the best record based on schedules. I know you have to bring up the schedule. The question is who's the best team right now. Hey, wait, Mariotti, Trent Dilfer, Brad Johnson, are these great quarterbacks?
No, you make a good point, Kellerman, but Woody makes a better point. That is, they're not quite ready. You've got to be in the playoffs first before you can get to the Super Bowl. I don't buy that at all. I look at teams, recent teams that are NFC championship game type teams. Why not the St. Louis Rams? Yeah, smoke and mirrors last night, but just the same. They're on a roll here. I look at a team like that to get hot in the second half and move on, not Carolina.
Holly?
Hey, Mariotti, step on up here. Let me ask you a question.
All right.
1999. The St. Louis Rams won the Super Bowl. What did they do the year before? Were they in the playoffs? I don't think they were. You don't have to be in the playoffs now in today's NFL to win the Super Bowl.
All right, reality, last word.
And both teams that made the Super Bowl last year are not even in the playoff picture right now. Maybe the Bucs are. John Fox, everybody talks about Parcells Fox. Turn the team around.
Good point. Fox not getting love. Woody, quick last word, quick.
What was the question? You couldn't even...
All right. Yeah, you have to be in the playoffs before you be in the Super Bowl, Mariotti, that year, because the playoffs come first. Not in the past, but that year you got to win in the playoffs. Next topic. It's 9 down and 7 to go for the Kansas City Chiefs after they pummeled Cleveland 41-20 Sunday. KC's next 3 games are against teams with losing records. See now, Woody, now schedule's important. In Nashville, the Tennessee Titans turned the AFC's most anticipated game of the weekend into a rout by humiliating Miami 31-7 to go 7-2. Guys, can the Titans or anyone hang with the Chiefs? Around the horn of Michael Holley.
Yeah, someone can, but let me just say this first. Like what the Chiefs are doing, I think Eric Warfield is having a great year. I think Sims is having a great year in the middle. But see, this is what's gonna bring the Chiefs down. Greg Robinson, their defensive coordinator, likes to take a lot of chances. He's a big risk taker, and they're gonna get beat deep one of these weeks. The Titans have scored 30 points in 6 consecutive weeks. A team record. Tyrone Calico is stepping up. The Colts, watch out for them. And hey, the New England Patriots, 7-2.
It's going to take a complete team to beat the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium in the playoffs. And I got news for you, Holly. The Titans don't have a running game. Eddie George is not the same Eddie George. They used Chris Brown in the second half last night. I mean, I'm telling you, Kansas City doesn't get enough respect for a team that may go 16-0. The complete package, and defensively, they lead the league in turnover differential. What more do people want from the Kansas City Chiefs? Woody?
Oh, my turn now. And for once, I must agree with Jay. And as you guys will remember on this program, go to the tape. I picked the Kansas City Chiefs to be 19-0 this year. But here's the most important thing that you got to remember is they, Holly, are also scoring 30 points a game. They've got the complete game. Greg Robinson is doing an exceptional job if you look at their defensive statistics this year. And if you look, they've only got the Denver Broncos and Minnesota Vikings standing in the way of them in a perfect season. If you are 2 of the wild card teams this year, you're going to have to go to Kansas City. Nobody's going to beat the Chiefs in that Red Sea in Kansas.
I agree
you stole my thought.
I can't believe this. I agree with the both of you. I think they're going to go undefeated. They have 2 teams with a winning record. By the time they play those 2 teams, they may not have winning records. Denver and Minnesota is going in the tank right now. Very talented team. You worry about the defensive coordinator and all that. They've got the most talented players right now, but I think the Titans are going to beat them when it gets to the postseason. The Titans are a complete team right now. 30 points, 6 straight games, as Michael said. That's the big time right there. Their offense is just as good as KC's right now.
Woody?
Dad, boy, the Titans are incredible at home. They never lose in Nashville in that new stadium, but they don't go on the road and play as the same kind of team. The Patriots are missing something. You can see it just under the edge. And the Chiefs have proven so far that they can win games in overtime, on punt return, defensively, and they've got the best
What are the Patriots missing, Woody? What are the Patriots missing?
That's what I'd like to know, Woody.
They
What
don't
really
really
have their defense?
Would you look at the running game? They have tried 3 different running backs, and none of them have been any good.
All right. You know, Woody actually responded to a direct question with an answer. Unbelievable. Fire yourselves next.
Coming up, Orlando has Disney World and retirees. But would T-Mac really choose retirement over the Mickey Mouse magic? Lost. Oklahoma is better than okay. But sooner or later, should the BCS recognize that they ain't the only undefeated team around? The Horn!
Around the Horn. Brought to you by Spy Hunter 2, the ultimate thrill ride, combining high-speed combat, global espionage, and mission-based gameplay.
Buy or sell?
Buy or sell time. Let's keep it moving. First topic. The Oklahoma Sooners look more and more like Secretariat at the Belmont. They're 77-0. Destruction of Texas A&M separated them even further from the rest of the BCS field. There's another undefeated team, though. The TCU Horn Frogs, who hung on to beat Louisville last Thursday and are projected to be number 6 in the BCS when the new rankings come out on the 6 p.m. Sports Center. Do you buy or sell TCU's claim to a shot at the BCS title, Woody Page?
First of all, the first question was, who will win the NFC? Why don't you get it right, bozo? In honor of Dan Jenkins, who is my idol, I am pulling for TCU. They've got a walkover in their last 3 games. Cincinnati, SMU, they're playing Southern Miss. I want to see Texas and TCU in the Fiesta Bowl. It'll be Ohio State.
Don't you ever have anything to say other than strength of schedule? Look who they have left. Mariotti.
I'm buying. I'll keep it simple here. Why can't we love this story? This is the team that slipped through the political cracks. Kellerman, next to the championship game on January the 4th, this will be the most intriguing BCS bowl game. And it's not a bad team among the nation's leaders in rushing defense.
Okay. That boy.
I'm selling this story. I'm so tired of this. It's the mating call of the loser. Every year there's another team that's undefeated in a rinky-dink conference, and you know what they do? They always lose in the last 2 weeks. Southern Miss, at Southern Miss, 5-0 in conference right now. They're going to knock them off, and we won't have to hear this.
All right, let's keep it moving. Michael Holley.
Well, hey, Max, they had a tough win over Houston, 62-55, and they really beat up on Cincinnati. I'm going to sell this. Play somebody if you want to play with the big boys. Get out of here.
It's not like you're pulling for Ohio State or anything, Holley. Next topic. Marshall Faulk returned to the Rams lineup and ran for 48 yards and 2 touchdowns, but St. Louis managed only 121 total yards in Sunday night's 33-22 turnover-filled win over the Ravens. Mark Bulger had his worst game as a pro, going 13 for 26 for 110 yards and 2 picks, and was booed by the home crowd. Of course, he won again. Buy or sell, the Rams' offense has improved with Marshall Faulk. Mariotti.
Oh, I've got to buy this thing. It's still Marshall Faulk. J.Lo couldn't have danced out of those, messes in the backfield last night. Baltimore's front 7 was pretty good. Give them props. This is still an excellent offense.
Okay, let's keep it moving.
Front 4 dominated him, actually. The problem is not Marshall Faulk. I think it's still Mike Martz. He's not sure whether he wants to run the ball or whether he wants to pass the ball. A nice mix of both will do you a whole lot of good.
Holly.
I'm going to buy it. Marshall Faulk is not the problem. The problem is Mark Bulger, who was terrible last night. Give it to Kurt Warner. He's the best quarterback on the team.
Oh, come on.
Woody Page.
I'm buying. He had 2 injuries. He was out for 5 games. What do you expect against the Baltimore Ravens? A great defense.
Okay, next topic. Roy Jones won a majority decision over Antonio Tarver Saturday night in Vegas, but his reputation may have taken a hit in the process. In the New York Times today, Michael Katz writes that while Jones won the fight, he, quote, may have lost his more precious status as boxing's best at any weight. Of course, you can see the quote right there. Buy or sell Roy Jones as still the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Reality.
Buying. He's still the best. And what is this crap about his legacy might be tarnished? Legacy. You got boxers biting people's ears. You got boxers coming out of retirement at 55. Don't worry about the legacy. He's still the best pound-for-pound. Anyway.
All right, I'm going to buy this. He was in the sauna from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the day of the weigh-in, just trying to get down the weight, and he still won. Roy Jones has no problems with me.
Woody Page.
Oh, I got to sell this. Reluctantly, though, he was sluggish, he was slow, he was sloth-like. I think going down from 200 to 175 took a lot out of him. He's got to fight Tyson to get the reputation back.
Woody, who is the best pound-for-pound fighter in that case, Woody?
Well, I think there's not any doubt about it that it's got to be...
Mariotti.
I'm buying that he's still the best pound-for-pound fighter. I have a lot of admiration for this guy, sliding up and down the scale to fight different people because there's no competition, compelling competition. I'm telling you, Paige is right. He's got to fight Tyson, the signature fight.
I'm still buying Roy's best pound-for-pound, though Floyd Mayweather's putting on pressure. Antonio Tarver never won the title from Roy. I don't know what Michael Katz is talking about. Ring Magazine never withdrew recognition from Roy Jones as the light heavyweight champion. But that's probably Roy's last fight at light heavy. Next topic. Things are so bad in Orlando that Tracy McGrady told the Orlando Sentinel, that is, I was thinking that after this year I'm done with basketball, period. That's how frustrated I've been. Notice how Woody gets the malaprop or anything mispronounced right away. T-Mac has averaged 15 points on 29% shooting in the last 4 games, all Magic losses. Buy or sell McGrady as a guy you can build your franchise around, Holly?
I'm going to sell, although he's a very good player. He's got good numbers, but great players want the ball. They want the pressure, and he very clearly said he didn't want it.
Woody?
I'm selling this. I think they've helped him out a lot by getting Juwan Howard, who has had to carry the albatross of that big contract. But once he gets settled in, that's going to be a good club, and McGrady will get over his frustration, if you will, at the beginning of the year.
Now, you guys are wrong. You got it way wrong here. You got to buy this. He doesn't have Grant Hill. He doesn't have the other max player there because Grant can't stay healthy. The burden's on him too much. Doc Rivers is not doing a good job. He's going to get fired.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a bye as well. This is a young player who had a bad week shooting against some zone defense, and now he's yapping. You know, we know he can't talk. He said he was in the playoffs last year when they didn't even win their series. They don't have Grant Hill, and Doc Rivers is a guy who might not be around next year.
Oh, no.
All right, you know what, Reality?
Yeah, boss.
You have not advanced to the next round because you're just repeating what the guy... You know, you had a real chance to pass Mariotti. I was looking forward to bouncing Mariotti in the first round.
He stole
and
what I
then
had
you
to
came with
say.
the old stale stuff. Well, then you got to come up with new stuff. You got to think on your feet. Out of bounds is next.
Coming up, Brett's back and better than ever. But does that make Green Bay favorites tonight against Philly? Furthermore, in the beginning there was light. Right after that they asked, is Flutie too short? He's still the best little man around. The Horn. Too short though. It's around the horn where after 2 rounds, here's how they stand. Jay Mariotti has 29, Woody Page has 30, Michael Holley has 30, and Stat Boy's off to his day job. Right now, it's out of bounds.
It's out of bounds where it's all inbounds. First topic. In the closest AL vote in 24 years, Royals shortstop Angel Baroa beat out Yankees outfielder Hideki Matsui for Rookie of the Year. Much has been made of the rookie status of the 29-year-old Matsui, who at 287 had 106 ribbies and 16 homers, and an on-base percentage of .353, third among everyday American League left fielders. The all-important on-base percentage category. Maybe he did deserve it. Should Hideki Matsui have been eligible to win Rookie of the Year, considering his career in Japan? Michael Holley.
Yes, he should have. Look, I know this. I'm going to make this very simple. It's a different league. I know he played in Japan and he had success in Japan, but he played in a different league. Let's go back to the Negro Leagues. Jackie Robinson played in the Negro Leagues before he came to the major leagues. How about Satchel Paige, who was a very old rookie when he came to the majors, but they're still considered rookies. It's a different
but you're
league.
talking about men and boys, Holly. I mean, this is a guy, Matsui, who was making, millions of dollars and have won an MVP award before Rocco Baldelli, was even out of junior high school. I don't think this is fair. I mean, you have to acknowledge, Kellerman, the globalization of the game right now and the fact that they do play the game very well in Japan.
How do you feel about Ichiro Suzuki being eligible for MVP?
It goes across the board. The NHL has an age limit for Rookie of the Year of 26. I would urge Major League Baseball to adopt that.
Okay, Woody?
Jay, you don't get it at all. Let's go back, Michael. You were almost close to it. Sam Jethro played in the old Negro Leagues for 6 years before he came to the majors and won Rookie of the Year. How many times, Mariotti, do you think Fernando Valenzuela pitched in Mexico? This is an anti-Asian belief here.
No, it
makes
is
no
not.
sense.
It doesn't sound anti-Asian. It sounds kind of pro-Asian in a way. Mariotti, is your contention that the Japanese leagues are too good and therefore cannot be considered a minor league of some sort?
That comment you just made is pathetic. I'm giving them respect for what I'm seeing in Japan, in the Dominican Republic, around the world. Our baseball team
has
lost
nothing to
over
do
the
with
weekend.
you. I'm not talking about you. Let me make my point.
Okay.
You can't have it both ways. Major League Baseball will say, oh, the Japanese leagues are not on an equitable level with us. Yep. And then they say, oh, yes, he can be Rookie of the Year. You got to make up your mind.
Well, the Japanese leagues are, statistically speaking, somewhere between AAA and the majors. Not quite the major leagues, better than AAA. Matsui should be a rookie. Next topic. It was a big weekend for short people. At the box office, Will Ferrell's Elf took in $32 million. In San Diego, the pride of Natick High, the diminutive Doug Flutie, led the Chargers to an unexpected blowout of the Vikings. Disembodied voice.
Yes.
You a Doug Flutie fan?
Right. Too short to play in the pros, but I loved him at BC over there.
Guys, which Elf was more valuable to his franchise this weekend? Will Ferrell to his movie, Doug Flutie to the Chargers, or Mariotti or Holly to this show? Jay,
well, I'm not as short as Doug Flutie, but he is eternal as far as I'm concerned. I mean, how can you not root for this guy every time out? Yeah. I mean, he might be the best 40-something athlete on earth, the best short athlete on earth right now. Where has he been all year? I mean, Will Ferrell, Kellerman, even he says, quote, I'm a bozo who got lucky. Nothing lucky about Flutie. He should have been starting throughout his career in the NFL.
This is not a subject about gnomes, of which you are one. This is about Will Ferrell playing in a movie that without him wouldn't have done $8 at the box office. The thing about it is, if you go back 2 years ago when Doug Flutie was a full-time starter, the Chargers were 5-11. Move on. Drew Brees is the future. Doug Flutie's not.
Woody, hey, Will Ferrell is very funny, but the number one elf of this weekend was clearly Doug Flutie. I think Jack McNeil is the smartest coach who's ever dealt with Flutie because he said, look, I'll give you that strange number 22, and I'll let you do your thing. I don't care if you're 5'9". All these other coaches...
Wait a minute, I can't... Oh, it's a tie. All right, Woody, I'm advancing you. Woody gets one chance out of maybe 2 weeks to get to the final round. This will be that. Jay, you'll be in the finals, I'm sure, all week long. All right, Woody, you happy now? I don't have to hear about it. I'll never make the finals. Is that Woody? Showdown next.
Coming up, America has a forgivable but somewhat perverse crush on them. How to Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen keep their 4 feet on the ground. The Horn!
Around the Horn, brought to you by Gillette Mach 3 Turbo. For the closest shave with less irritation, even against the grain.
Showdown time. But first, disembodied voice.
You rang.
What did we miss?
Well, Wayne Huizenga is going to meet with Dolphins coach Dave Wanstead on Tuesday, says he will not replace his head coach. And Dontrell Willis is your National League Rookie of the Year, Max.
First topic. The Packers host the Eagles on Monday Night Football. Bet the Pack if it's cold because Brett Favre is 29-0 in the regular season when it's 34 degrees or below. Donovan McNabb showed signs of life last week, passing for 312 yards and a touchdown. Who do you like? The Eagles or Packers? 15 seconds each. Where do you go?
Weather won't be a factor in this game. I'll tell you what's a factor in this game. Philadelphia's won 3 in a row. The Packers are coming off a game they had to win. They're going to let down this week after Minnesota won yesterday. Andy Reid's 9-1 in prime time, and he's alternating his 3 running backs for the more effective running game.
Woody, Minnesota lost yesterday, and the Packers are coming off a game where they rushed for 262 yards, including 137 by Amon Green. The Eagles are finally going to have these injuries catch up with them. They're missing 4 defensive linemen, and they're missing some safeties. Amon Green's going to go wild.
You know what, Michael? I agree with you, but the whole emotional letdown thing, I'm buying it. I think that was the strongest point. Of course, the weather's the strongest point. 29-0. Next topic. After the Giants' ugly 27-7 loss to the Falcons on Sunday, Coach Jim Fassel told his team they should be embarrassed and reportedly asked his players if they were trying to get him fired, according to the New York Star-Ledger. To make things worse, Fassel will now be without Jeremy Shockey for 6 to 8 weeks with a partially torn knee ligament. Will Fassel last the season in New York? 15 seconds each. Holly, go.
They're not trying to get him fired. They are going to get him fired at the end of the year. He'll last this season, but he's got really bad timing. It's a weak year in the NFC. Dallas, a team that's inferior to the Giants, is leading the NFC East, and the Giants gave away a game to Dallas. Hey, look, Fassel will not be
Jim's a good friend of mine. He is perfect for New York. He's the 3rd winningest coach in Giants history. He got him to the Super Bowl, guys, in 2000. Kerry Collins said yesterday they don't want to get rid of this guy. They want to play for him. They'll be back, and he'll be back.
Michael, you're so right, but every once in a while, I got to let Woody win. There it is, Woody. 15 seconds are yours.
Tomorrow is Veterans Day, and it's so critical this year that we reach out and have an appreciation for all our veterans, particularly with what's going on in the Middle East. Kellen Winslow said over the weekend he's a soldier. He's been in a war. He doesn't know what it's like. Neither do I, but the veterans do. We appreciate the men and women.
That's going to do it, folks. We're on a 23.5-hour break. See you Tuesday around the Horn. Like you're tying together the Winslow and the Veterans Day team.
Well said for a guy with Bill Parcells.
Around the Horn is a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For up-to-the-minute sports information, log on to ESPN.com.
Head of the show, 5-6.
Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. Tony, we better be starting with the biggest story of the weekend. Northwestern, my Northwestern beating Joe Paterno and getting into the bowl picture.
I'm Tony Kornheiser, and you've got it, Mike. And then we'll move to the second biggest story, your descent into complete brain-dead dementia. They're 5-5. They're not even bowl eligible.
And why are you wearing purple?
Because I got it on sale. Not because of Northwestern.
It matches, look, the color.
Not even bowl
eligible. The color matches, it's
Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Wilbon and I yap about the fading Bucks, Steve Spurrier's gutsy call and the cosmic significance of Doug Flutie. And so let us start with those fading Bucks. Mike, I'm watching Tampa Bay against Carolina yesterday. I see Brad Johnson on a 3rd and 20 with the season on the line, throw a pass to Keenan McCardell, who in rush hour traffic makes one of the 5 greatest catches I have ever seen for a touchdown.
Great catch.
Bucks win, except in the final 2 minutes, Carolina goes right down the field and wins. What on earth has happened to the vaunted Tampa Bay defense?
Well, a lot of things, Tony, including some injuries. Brian Kelly has been out.
Don't read me a list.
Shelton Quarles has been out. I'm going to read you a list. John Lynch has missed some time, though he was back yesterday. And
had enough time to make commercials.
And Tony, if you're injured and you are out of the lineup, and Dexter Jackson went to Arizona, the MVP. They don't have a lot of those 4 people a lot of the time, and the defense has been porous. They let people get behind them. We saw another touchdown yesterday where receiver Ricky Prohl, I believe it is, gets behind, I think it was Barber. Also, I don't know how it happens. They're not as good.
They did this. Jake Delhomme, who's not Joe Montana, did this without any timeouts and without any running backs. Now, you said at the beginning of the year that Tampa Bay was going back to the Super Bowl, and you said it was the defense was going to bring them.
Tony, the defense has played poorly in several games, not just 1 or 2 times, several games. Brad Johnson, who has been great, so don't start on what I did to Brad Johnson, has been great. He threw a pick for a touchdown yesterday. Let me ask you something.
Are they done?
Last year, I don't know. No, they can make the playoffs to wild card. But let me ask you this.
Yes.
Last year, you among others, you were all singing the praises about John Gruden. What about John Gruden now?
I still like John Gruden.
Where's his responsibility?
Here's what I think happens.
What?
And he has some responsibility. I think inevitably, and we see it all the time, when you win a Super Bowl, a team gets a certain amount of complacency and a certain amount of wealth, and they don't play as hard the next year. And everybody
They better start playing harder. They won't be a wild card team. I think they still will be. As good as the Carolina Panthers were yesterday, the most impressive team in the NFL Sunday had to be the Tennessee Titans, who throttled the Miami Dolphins. Steve McNair played like the MVP, threw 2 touchdowns, and made 0 mistakes. The defense is playing like it did when the Titans went to the Super Bowl. Tony, does all this add up to the Titans being as good as the undefeated Chiefs, or is Miami just already in a December meltdown mode?
Let's start with the first half of that. Are they as good as the Chiefs? They may be as good as the Chiefs right now, but you have to rank the Chiefs over them because the Chiefs haven't lost. Okay? And as good a year as McNair is having, Trent Green is having almost as good a year. So they're a very, very good team. Now, to get to the Miami Dolphins.
Your boy Wani, you going to defend him?
He's not. No, I'm not going to defend my boy Wani.
Okay.
Wayne Huizenga, the owner, has called for a meeting with Wani. You always say, Wani, get out.
No, I mean, Dave Wanstad, there's nothing evil. I mean, he seems to be just a great guy. But as a coach, he has these meltdowns with the Bears when he was there, and now with the Dolphins. Huizenga's not going to fire Wanstad. He's already said he's not going to. He can't do that.
Now, I don't think they can start Brian Greasy
again. Give the ball
again.
to Ricky Williams.
Well, wait a second.
Give it to him. 16 carries the last 2 weeks.
No. 13 carries for 36 2 weeks ago. Yeah. 13 for 37 yesterday. Tony. But maybe it's not enough yards. Maybe they're so far behind.
Carries. Then don't get behind. Zach Thomas missed a game yesterday.
Give him a hellacious week. And I like Ricky Williams. I like him better than you did in college. Give him a hellacious week that Steve Spurrier and Dan Snyder had to endure. At the very least, they must have a tremendous sense of relief that the Redskins finally won a game beating Seattle. Wilbon, you were there, and I know this wasn't the only big play of the game, but as much as I love Steve Spurrier, I never, ever would have gone 4th and 1 on my own 25 with 6 minutes left to go in a tied game. Would you?
First, let me say that I think you were relieved because this gets you off the hook being Steve Spurrier's biggest backer. Now, I would not have done that. No, I wouldn't, because I grew up in the Midwest with conservative football with Bo and Woody and stuff like that. However, at the time, before the snap came, I turned to Tom Boswell, our colleague at the Washington Post, and I said, I love this call. Here's why. It was a desperate call. The Redskins are desperate. They needed to win that game, as you alluded to, because the coach and the owner have been getting pounded. And the team no longer necessarily didn't believe in the coach. They didn't believe in themselves. They needed a pick-me-up, and he provided it.
By the way, Rock Cartwright made it easily by at least 1 inch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before a textbook tackle slammed him backwards. If that
had missed, would that have been the end in Washington for Steve Spurrier as far as all the fans were concerned?
It was the end of the season. It would 3-6 with that kind of loss. It would have been the end of the season, I believe, Tony. And they would have been looking at what happens next year or playing out the string. But at 4-5, I think they're rejuvenated. I do. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're rejuvenated.
They also kept Patrick Ramsey upright. No sacks yesterday.
Only a couple of hits.
Sacks.
Upon leading the Giants to the Super Bowl 3 seasons ago, Jim Fossil became the most popular guy in New York this side of Rudy Giuliani. But now, with his team 4-5, Following an inexplicable 20-point home field loss to the Vickless Falcons, New Yorkers are calling for Fossil's head. Tony Fossil has been able to rally the Giants time and again in the second half of seasons. Is there another trick up his sleeve, or is he done in New York?
Well, we've seen this happen before, where he resurrects a team in the second half of the season, and he makes it work. So I'm not going to bet against him at this point. What is confounding to me is I thought the Giants would be much better than this. I don't know how you feel about Kerry Collins.
I had him winning the division.
I think Kerry Collins throws the prettiest pass in the whole league, but it's not. They
got some problems.
They're like Tampa Bay. They lose when they should be winning.
Well, they tease you. You look at the talent on the team and you go, wow, these guys ought to be pretty good. Tiki Barber, who can run, who can catch, who's versatile, he lays it down, and it's always close. It's always in the red zone. They can't have that.
But Fossil has gone through this before. You know what he at least understands? He understands how to take the heat in the New York kitchen. He doesn't say, you guys can't criticize me. He doesn't say, get out of here. He says, I'm here. I can stand it. Give me your best shot.
And by the way,
sometimes they
kudos to Michael Strahan for standing up for his coach.
That's right.
I don't want to hear any criticism of Strahan for doing that.
Who's criticizing?
People are saying, well, Strahan shouldn't say, you can boo.
Stop. Nobody's criticizing him. Here's a story that has to make everybody feel good. Well, everybody but Drew Brees. Anyway, 41-year-old Doug Flutie, banned, got his first start in the last 2 years for the San Diego Chargers, and did he ever make the most of it? 2 touchdowns running, 2 touchdowns throwing, and the Chargers beat the now fading Minnesota Vikings. Now, Mike, you're thrilled for Flutie, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Because I think no player has been screwed in the NFL and professional football more in the last 20 years than Doug Flutie. I think it's an indictment of NFL coaches everywhere that they weren't either smart enough.
Your boy, your favorite of all time.
Fine. He at least put him out there in the playoff game, and Flutie might not have been ready then. But it's an indictment of NFL coaches everywhere that they either weren't smart enough, all these geniuses, or weren't willing to do what it takes to allow this kid time to be a great quarterback consistently, because he could have been.
Here's the hard question now.
What?
A couple of years ago, when they made the trade, San Diego made the trade to give up the rights to Michael Vick to get Drew Brees and LaDainian Tomlinson. Everybody said good trade for both teams. Is Drew Brees the quarterback at San Diego, or is he done?
I know there is some speculation that Drew Brees is not the guy. How can he be done? He's, what, 25 years old?
If they had to go to a 41-year-old man...
Tony, it's also a terrible team. They had won 1 game. They got a little desperate. This kid he should have been playing. Kid, he's 41 years old. Doug Flutie should have been playing. He should be going to the Hall of Fame. He could have been Fran Tarkenton. Coaches ought to be embarrassed that they weren't smart enough to tailor an offense to Doug Flutie's talents, which are considerable. Shouldn't be having this conversation. And if the Baltimore Ravens had Flutie, by the way, they'd be undefeated. Instead, they've got an injured Kyle Bowler whose torn quadriceps suffered last night, may put him on injured reserve and out for the season by tomorrow. Behind him, they have Chris Redmond, who, my goodness, against the Rams, he looked like he'd never before taken a snap at quarterback. And that subplot, Tony, undermined another great performance by linebacker Ray Lewis. Now, can even the best defensive player in the game, even one as good as Lewis, overcome a disastrous situation at quarterback?
The Ravens had a great defense a few years ago when they won the Super Bowl, but Trent Dilfer was efficient at quarterback.
Yes, he was.
And he wasn't a rookie like Kyle Bowler is, and now probably gone. And he wasn't like Chris Redmond, who you say it was the worst performance you've ever seen. I was asleep. I was asleep, but you said it was terrible.
I mean, I'm a Chicago Bears fan of 40 years. I know a bad quarterbacking when I see it. It was unbelievable.
Well, here's the problem.
Lewis was begging the offense not to let them score.
Here's the problem that they have. The best that the defense can hope to do is hold the other team to nothing. But you got to punch the ball in every once in a while. Lawrence Taylor, when he was the most dominating player in the league, Bill Sims was a very good quarterback. I mean, I just don't think that defense alone can win it for you. The offense has to come up. That's what happened with Dilfer when he replaced Tony Banks. There was some offense there.
Got to have some offense. Suppose Bowler's out.
Hey, wait a second. Who's your boy? Your boy's Brian Billett. Why don't you have a chat with him?
Not a good move.
We're taking a break, but when we come back, should Oklahoma have taken it easier on Texas A&M? And later, the controversy over Kellen Winslow Jr.'s remarks and his subsequent apology.
You just like getting that shot on Billy, didn't you?
Well, you told me that last night.
Pardon the interruption. Presented by New Smirnoff Ice Triple Black. Triple filtered for a crisp, clean bite. And in part by 10-10-9-8-7. Give it a try.
Oklahoma beat Texas A&M 77-0 this weekend, and some like our colleague Mike Lupica, say that Bob Stoops ran it up. Terry Bowden joins us. Terry, if you were on the other side of 77-0, would you have a problem with Bob Stoops?
Lupica had nothing to know what a football game's all about. No, Bob Stoops didn't run it up. He had his second-teamers, third-teamers in there, and at the end of the game, they just laid the ball on the ground. They ran it up the middle every time and didn't score. No, he didn't run the score up. He has a hard time holding the score down.
Is he that much better than everybody else right now?
Well, when they're playing their best, they are that much better, especially the Texas A&M. That's not a great football team, but they're the #1 scoring offense in the country, the #1 defense in the country, and their special teams are great. They have no weaknesses, so unless they mess up somewhere, nobody gets close.
127-9, the last 2 weeks of revenge games against Oklahoma State and Texas A&M. But, Terry, I want to move to a team that has some weaknesses. Joe Paterno, Penn State's Joe Paterno, one of my favorite college coaches of all time in any sport, but they are 2-8 now, winless in the Big Ten, and Joe Paterno's 76 years old. How long do you think Penn State owes Joe Paterno that corner office and head coach?
Next year. I think he said, I'm coming back. He says, let's not discuss it, and we're not going to discuss it. So apparently he's already gotten the word that he's coming back. I think he has to have his president's agreement and his AD. He can't just come out and say it. So he's already said it. He's coming back next year. Next year, if things don't work out, I think he owes it to the university to let them make the decision.
That's legit, you think. Do you think they owe Joe Paterno one more year?
Yes, I do. I mean, I didn't even play for him, and for what he's done for me in college football and the leadership he's shown me, I couldn't see me running him out if he's not ready.
Let me get to a contemporary of Joe Paterno's, your own father, Bobby Bowden. Lee Corso on radio today said that the Clemson coaches outcoached the Florida State coaches in a big shocker over the weekend. Did you see it that way?
Well, you know, players feed off their coaches, and the players played terrible. They did without emotion, without intensity. They were listless. I think they heard so much about this Bowden thing. I think they got caught up in feeling sorry for Tommy or not thinking that they wanted to pile it on. And, in fact, Clemson's not that bad. So I don't know if the coaches didn't prepare. I know my brother Jeff, he calls the plays for Florida State. He wanted Tommy to lose so he could have his job.
Was that a tough game for your dad, playing against his son?
I think under these circumstances, knowing that maybe Tommy's job was on the line in that game, I think it was a very tough game. He wouldn't say it. He said he wanted to whip him bad. I just deep down inside can't believe it.
Terry, let's stay in the state of Florida for a second. The University of Miami lost again, and apparently they're going to bench Brock Berlin. Is it that much on one player? Because I think it is. Brock Berlin has had at least a couple of subpar games, or are there other things going on at the University of Miami we can point to?
Well, yes and yes. Yes, they need to replace him. He's had subpar performances. He hasn't performed in critical situations. They need some kind of push-up. They need Derek Crudup to come in and just give them some kind of spark. You know, Brock Berlin has been a disappointment. He's not mature as they thought he would be, and he's not making big plays. So they've got to do it, but more importantly, they've got other problems. They've got discipline problems. They had 12 penalties for 121 yards. Of course, everyone now has heard about the Kellen Winslow interview after the game, and so it's a problem that now Larry Coker, he's got to come in and prove he can settle this thing.
We never mention TCU on this show whenever we have you here, but everybody else has, other than Oklahoma, has at least one loss, and it's possible that all the top teams are going to have 2 losses. If you were coaching TCU, could you make a case to get into the national championship game against Oklahoma if you stay unbeaten?
You know, if I'm their coach, sure I do. I make a great argument for it, showing that every Saturday I've showed up, and all I can do is beat the people on my schedule. I think they have an argument. I'm not sure they'll get in because of the strength of schedule, but if they're undefeated and there's not many one-loss teams, they have an argument. And maybe with all the concerns about the BCS, this might be the year that a Cinderella team like that makes it.
Let me get to your heart for a second. I watched the Notre Dame-Navy game, and I like Notre Dame, but I was rooting for Navy to win that game. I thought it was awful that they lost on a field goal in the last second because they had a chance to break a 40-year schneid here. Was your heart with Navy as well?
Yeah, I kind of was pulling for them. I know what it's like to lose that many years, how big that game was, and how well they played. They played well enough to win the game. I pull for Ty Willingham almost all the time, but this is a game, if you love college football and the underdog, this was one where you pull for the underdog.
That's exactly how I felt. Thank you, Terry.
Thanks, Terry.
Thank you, man.
We're taking a break. When we come back, my guy, Bill Parcells, gets it done again. And is Tracy McGrady really contemplating retirement?
What are you, nuts? He's not going anywhere. He's 11 years old, not going to retire.
bad mailman, and I think you know which one of us delivers, people. Let's get the first one.
Mail time? What do you deliver exactly?
I deliver the mail.
Kind of junk. The Bills and Cowboys combined for 3 points in the second half on Sunday. Good game or bad game?
I watched that game. I thought it was a real good game because it was a battle of punts and field position all the way in the fourth quarter. Drew Bledsoe.
When did you become Woody Hayes? Punts and
Here's
field
why
position?
I like it. Drew Bledsoe, who I like, completed 17 passes in the game for a total of how much? 104 yards. There was nothing open, nothing downfield. I thought it was like playoff baseball where you hang on every pitch.
Those are the kinds of games that I usually like, and you call me up and say, yeah, get this defense and running out of here. There were better games, though.
I'm not saying there weren't better games.
Cleveland, Jets, Oakland, Jacksonville, Indy.
The question was, did I like it? You know why I liked it?
Why?
Because as I once said of Eric Clapton, Bill Parcells is
Here
God.
we go.
Bill Parcells
is there a show where you don't suck up to Parcells?
I have a problem with Kellen Winslow Jr.'s so-called apology for his post-game remarks. Do you feel it was sincere, or did Daddy make him do it?
Well, I know his father pretty well, and I'm sure his father was displeased. I didn't talk to Kellen Sr. about this. I'm sure he was displeased with Tony. Before we go crazy, this kid's 20 or 21 years old. I don't agree with what he said, particularly the soldier reference. It's unnecessary. He's in college. He's a kid. Let's get over it.
You know what surprised me, and I actually think they were right. Mark May and Trev Alberts crushed this kid. They crushed him because they said your father wouldn't have done this.
He wouldn't have.
And
that's right.
What this does, it hurts Miami in this regard. It makes them seem like sore losers again.
No, it doesn't. It was
yes,
one kid after an emotional loss popping off.
Yes,
That's all it was.
But you know what? I think you've given them benefit of the doubt in the sense
You
you
do.
accept his apology at face
and
value
you
and you move on.
Yeah. Did you see this kid from Texas A&M celebrate after making a tackle when his team was down 77-0? If you were coaching that kid, how would you handle it?
Here's what I would have done.
Let me see this, because I did not see this on Saturday.
Okay, you see that kid? Here's what I would have said. Son, look at the scoreboard. You're down 77-0. It could be 84-0, except that Oklahoma's falling down here.
Look at this.
You
do you know
do
how
this.
much worse this is than whatever Kellen Winslow said after an emotional loss?
That's what you do.
You are. I may threaten to take your scholarship away.
You can't do that.
Well,
because
I might threaten to
Oklahoma is literally laying down because they don't want to score anymore. They don't want to score anymore.
How pathetic is that?
Tracy McGrady's complaints about the zone defense and his ruminations on retirement are ludicrous. In order for him to succeed against the zone, he needs to do one thing: get better.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. He's not going to retire. I mean, why Tracy McGrady at 24 years old, maybe 25 by now, would even utter the word retirement is beyond
me. What's he going to do, slice meat in a deli with the girls in the WNBA?
Until they have to cut the uniform off him when he's 40. They won't even be able to get him off the court.
You know what this stems from,
It's frustration. What?
You know where this started with Tracy McGrady?
Where?
When he said last year up 3-1 in the playoffs, God, it feels great to be in the second round. And what happened?
He wasn't exactly in the second round. He didn't get out of the first round. This is frustration. He alone can't beat the zone defense. His teammates are going to have to, pass the ball and beat teammates.
Team's in trouble.
A team.
Orlando.
They are in trouble.
Trouble City.
They lost to the Bulls at home the other night. After barely beating Antonio Tarver on Saturday night, Roy Jones said, quote, "1 mega-dollar heavyweight fight with Tyson and then I'm done," close quote. Is this fight ever going to happen?
Well, Tyson needs money.
And Roy Jones?
Tyson needs money, and Tyson isn't any taller, I don't think, than Roy Jones.
No, 5'10" and a half.
And Roy Jones Jr. has been at this for 15 years as a pro, and he's not getting any better. He can't fight Lennox Lewis. I think this fight could make it.
I think this is going to have to be the fight. This is the fight that will make them both a lot of money. Yes. None of us, even though you and I love Roy Jones Jr. and have since the Olympics in Seoul, neither one of us thinks he can touch Lennox Lewis. But we think an action fight with Tyson is... What?
Well, I don't know how much Tyson has left. But the way Tyson punched...
Action fight? It's going to be an action fight?
Yes, I think one could get knocked out, seriously. Okay. Time for a break, but don't go anywhere because baseball has named its Rookies of the Year. And the Giants get some bad news about Jeremy Shockey.
That purple, very fetching on you.
Yeah, very Northwestern-ish.
Matches the helmet.
Northwestern-ish, as we like to say, with your 5 wins.
Pardon the interruption. Presented by New Smirnoff Ice Triple Black. Triple filtered for a crisp, clean bite. And in part by K Jewelers. This holiday season, shop K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K.
Happy time, people. Happy 47th birthday to Sinbad, real name David Atkins. Once offered a scholarship to play basketball at the University of Denver, dropped out to drive an ice cream truck, and that is by far the funniest thing I've ever heard Sinbad.
Hey, I paid good money 3 times to see Sinbad. More importantly, I want Sinbad to play me and shut up and listen the story of your life.
That would be great.
He's funny and clean. Very funny.
Happy anniversary, Newt Rockney. This is posthumous, but on this day 75 years ago, you gave your win one for the Gipper speech at halftime of a scoreless game with Army, and Notre Dame responded by winning 12-6. It's actually happened 8 years after George Gipp's death. The general recollection is Rockney made that speech when he was alive. Who played Gipp in the movie?
Ronald Reagan. Have you been to Notre Dame on a Saturday afternoon to watch a game?
Yes, I have. Happy trails, Mike Keenan. As surely as the Swallows return to Capistrano each year, so does Mike Keenan get the boot. This time it was from the Florida Panthers' 7th team. Will there be an 8th team?
Of course there's going to be an 8th team. You know where it perhaps ought to be? In Washington, so we can slap somebody around.
Time to find out what we messed up, Stat Boy.
You think Doug Flutie could have gone to the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Should be going to one, the CFL Hall of Fame, 6-time league MVP.
In the College Hall of Fame as well. Here we go to the big finish. You ready?
Let's do it.
Dontrell Willis and Angel Baroa, the rookies of the year. Good by you?
Yeah, better than Hesop Choi, I'll tell you that. Matt Kenseth clinched the Winston Cup. Break it down, Tony. How'd he do it?
By hitting big home runs when it counted. The U.S. baseball team has missed the Olympics. Defending gold medalist, your reaction?
That reduces the Olympics for me. I want to see Cuba, U.S. as often as I can. I'm not going to see it. Jeremy Shockey's going to miss 6 to 8 weeks with a partially torn ligament in his left knee. Your thoughts?
Well, I wish I'd known this earlier in the show when I said that Fossil could get it done.
So much left.
Monday Night Football, the Eagles at the Packers. Who you got?
I'm going with the hot hand on the road. Eagles to win on the frozen
Lambeau?
In Lambeau.
We're out of time. Try and do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
And I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow.
How's Northwestern going to get 6?
We're going to get 6 by beating Illinois.